Wakey, wakey, my dear Astrid. You've been at it for a good couple of days, and we have some people we need to talk to. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman, and we'll just kind of do this the same old way we usually do with these ones. This is going to be a little bit of what's going on with me as far as this game is concerned, and we're going to have a couple of little things. But yes, welcome back to The Long Dark. In the post-update version, we are now running in whatever 2 point whatever 3 or 4 or 5 because of the somewhat little bit problems they had when they were releasing. But again, welcome back. This is our Astrid version number 3, I guess, at this point in time. So this will be my third major long-run loper that I'm planning on playing with. She currently has been alive for 37 days. We killed a moose about 4 days ago, so that's good. That means in another 6 days I can go make my satchel and I can start doing the real game. But she's decently well kitted. She found her a bedroll. She found a few of the things. We have a bow, and I've got bow parts elsewhere, plus a couple other things. Food and whatnot is always of the same deal. Clothing is still kind of mediocre because we haven't found anything really good, and it's just been the luck of the draw. This may end up being one of those times where I'm going to try to keep a couple of those socks alive and a set of those. But it has been an interesting little thing. I think I've got about 6-7 hours on this save. This is just me testing. This is just me seeing things, and we're going to kind of go wander around in the dark, well, I should say in the fog. I came over here specifically to do a couple of things, mainly to get myself set up, but the moose is in Pleasant Valley, or I should say Pleasant Valley. This is Pleasant Valley. The moose is in Coastal, and we're going to go back to Coastal after we finish rummaging through one more house over here. So for the most part, what I want to do right now, guys, is I want to kind of talk, and we're going to kind of go forward. I really have had an interesting go with this, mainly because the fact that, well, learning some of the loot spawns has been very interesting, and I'm not going to kind of go into them much other than if you're playing and you're finding issues with things, or at least where you think something should be as far as a particular thing. Like, I've found 3 magnifying lenses on this run. I'm not 100% certain at this point, but I do believe there are still 4 loot tables because I think I'm playing on the 3rd one, which is interesting because that 3rd one, and the reason why I say that, is that there are 3 mag lenses in the 3rd one. And there are a few other little things. I think they took the loot tables through whatever they thought was in the area, shook the box a little bit, and then put them back out. I don't think they changed specifically what exists in every loot table yet, because I haven't found anything out of the absolute ordinary. And oh yes, you must do this now. Found a few of those already, and for what it's worth, I think there's probably going to need to be some rebalancing for their little caches and the memento thingies that they have found. Yes, there's going to be stuff. We're going to go over it here just a little bit. I just kind of want her to get up and do a little bit of wandering around for you guys on camera so that you get a little bit of gameplay footage because, well, you know, if we find one of these, we might go find it right now. They seem to be everywhere. I've found 5 or 6 or 7. I don't remember at this time how many I have. Mementos, 10. Wow, I've found 10 so far. They're basically just a little bitty note that you're going to find. They'll either be a note of this type or a note of this type, and some of them will come with keys, and those keys will open a lockbox somewhere that will allow you to do a few things. So let's go inside here. We can kind of loot this room up, and you guys can see kind of what I'm seeing. So the other thing for those of you that probably don't know is that I think the last 2 episodes, or at least actually, no. This is going to be the first episode that I'm going to be recording on my new computer. So we're actually using a little bit better, I might actually cook that. For right now, I won't now. So I've got a decent, well, for what it's worth, basically with the Long Dark, the thing about the Long Dark is your read and write times to your hard drive, regardless of what kind of a video you use. Granted, I think the recommended thing is like a 1060 or something like that, or a little bit lower than that. It's not a very video intensive game, so it's not a very big deal, but the ability to be able to read and write to a hard drive quickly and, you know, being able to use a decent amount of memory has definitely improved the gameplay as far as things go. So what are you going to give me? I need some socks. I've been asking for socks this whole time. Santa Claus has not delivered my socks yet. Socks. I may have to go to the other house, but we're going to be headed back to Pleasant Valley, Coastal Highway, very shortly because I need to be over there. Yes, finally, excellent, awesome, 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 good, 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 good. It's not going to be all the slots are full. Awesome. So we will eventually fill those up. We're going to do a couple of things. Hopefully, like I would really, really like some wool socks right now. But again, my total entire plan with the new update is that I have already purchased the... You're going to eat a tree. You and your trees. I've already purchased the DLC. I'm not going into that new area until I have a fully kitted out, and I mean with the technical backpack and the crampons and the moose hide satchel, at least. She's good enough. I might go to Hush and go get the other Mackinaw just to get it right now, but I rolled a dice on a Mackinaw right off the bat in one of the... I think that was in Trappers as far as things go. So we're just going to kind of goof around a little bit and kind of see what's going on. But that's a general house. That's kind of the way they've all been. And for what it's worth, I have been trying very hard to look around and look under and behind things because some of the stuff that I've been finding has not been in, again, normal locations. One of the things that I wish they would learn to do, at least when redoing loot tables, is let's hide things at eye level or maybe a little bit above. We've been staring down at the ground for 7 years or 8 years now, and, well, I'm looking all over the place, and it's still hiding, you know, ground level or lower. So if you're having an issue trying to find things, make sure you look around. I know it's kind of one of those deals. It's a blatantly obvious deal, but let's eat something before we lose our well-fed. It doesn't give you very... it doesn't look very good, I know. We're going to eat a couple of crackers. I'm not going to cook it right now because it'll just cause a problem, but I may take it outside and leave it out here. Plans for this run, like I said, is I'm going to get this character up and running as best I can, and then I'm taking it to the new zone. Whether or not that's going to be with you guys is going to be up to you to decide. There are a few things we are severely missing at this point. I have not found a flare gun, and for what it's worth, I don't know if I want to go into a zone that has cougars that, well, or could possibly have cougars. Yes, they're going to add some new stuff to the game. I don't really know if I want to go into a zone that could possibly have something like that without a flare gun. I have collected quite a few flares. I've only used one. Actually, my first fire on this particular character was with the blue flare. She spawned in Forlorn Muskeg, and for what it's worth, I guess we get to go here. Hang on 1 second. Oh, you sucker. There. This is some of the things that I've been noticing lately. They're dancing again. They're dancing again. Wildlife has been reasonably reworked at this point to where they're a little more accurate as to where they're going. He danced around me because I hit him the first time. Again, one of the main reasons why I say when you're trying to fight a wolf like that is to back up, is because you can back up and turn like this if they do that. So they're definitely been a little bit more harder to play, and I've spent quite a lot of time with torches, actually, this run, just trying to make sure that I don't end up dead. But again, thank you very much, Mr. Wolf. I'm going to be leaving here. We're going to be heading back up to here. I'm going to be talking with my people a little bit, but the other thing that I have noticed specifically, and I don't know if you guys want to turn your...
Did I say I hate people?
Oh, shh, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. And I need to turn the subtitles on again. I am sorry. They reset all of the settings as far as the game goes, but the sounds are a little different. Like, where is she? Where is she? You're up there? Can I go say hi to you real quick so I can show the people? Where are you? I'm going to probably have to creep up here very carefully. Yeah, you'll be fine.
I've never felt so cold.
Some of the sounds have been changed. Certain things, there she is, right over there. No, that's a full male deer. I saw one coming in here. Where is she? They have, again, reworked the wildlife somewhat. I don't think they've changed where the actual spawns like they were stating. We're going to go through the little list here in a minute of all the interesting things, and then we're going to give you guys an idea as to what we want to do. So, but the deer now have sounds. They now make little grunting noises. So, like that guy right there, we heard him kind of grunt a little bit. The females are slightly smaller, so the does, or whatever they're going to call them, they're just slightly smaller than a male deer. And what's interesting is I know there was one over there. I could probably go find her. No big deal. Wildlife, at least for what it's worth, the females have replaced a lot of the male deer. So when you normally find 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 male deer in one area in a clearing, they will have maybe 1 male and 3 or 4 does. Like it would be real life kind of thing, because, well, deer tend to hang out in herds governed by 1 single male deer. But we're not going to worry about him. We don't need him. I was kind of hoping he'd make some noise. No? Okay, well, whatever. I'm headed back to the mine. We're not really worried about it. We've got other things we've got to do. As stated with some of the other things, or as I stated with some of the other things, the parts pieces, some of the things that you're normally looking for with Interloper are still where they're supposed to be, or where they were. So far, I have 3 stems, I believe, and those 3 stems were found where they were supposed to be. The caveat that being that I think Forlorn Muskeg is either broken or whatever, because I know they've issued a couple of patches since the update has happened, because they had some problems, especially with visual bugs. There's some serious visual bugs going on, especially with the safe in Forlorn Muskeg not being able to be actually read. So you actually have to do it the very hard way because there's no numbers on it. There's a couple other visual bugs that I've been getting to as well, but it's the thing that I think has been the most interesting is those memento caches. This character has something that they're not supposed to have. I've actually found 2 of those. I've also found a flashlight. I've also found 3 or 4 MREs. 4 MREs in Mystery Lake. That got me through the early game fantastically. Like, legitimately, that was the first thing I found was 4 MREs. In a Loper file, that's unheard of. The other funny thing, and I guess I'll say it here too, I don't have them in here right now. We have 5 flare shells and no flare guns, because one of those memento thingies in Mystery Lake has it, or had it. I don't know how that's going to work. We're going to have to kind of play with that as we go. So I just wanted to get her back up here so that we can kind of go on forward with a little bit. So she should have a save spot right there. If not, I'm going to make sure she gets one really quickly. We'll just sleep for an hour. And I hope I don't lose my well-fed, because I've been working really hard. This one is going to take about 10 more days. Well, I should say 4 or 5 more days, a couple of more hours on my part before I am happy to play with her, at least for the long run. She's getting ready to go to Ash Canyon, then Timberwolf, and then the new zone. So with that being said, I'm going to close this out, and we're going to go look at the actual cool things that are supposedly showing up in the DLC section. So let me, well, do the thing. Alrighty, so on the basic release part of this, I'm not going to go through a massive amount of this, guys. I just want to kind of touch on a couple of really important things, and then I'm going to let you guys decide something when we get to the end of this little deal. So Tales from Far Territory is the new name for the DLC area where we're able to go and explore an entirely new area. It's a supposedly very long walk, which is why I'm building an interloper that can probably live for 3 or 4 days without having a problem. In this picture, you're going to get to see a few things that's very interesting, like the glimmer fog and the helicopter and some of the other stuff. The first available area that we're going to be able to get to after the long walk and the railroad area, wherever it is that we're going to have as a hub location, is going to be called Lost Airfield or something like that. And it's going to be the first area. It's supposedly as big or bigger than Pleasant Valley. And it's supposed to be as nasty or worse than Pleasant Valley. So I'm not going in there with anything better than a reasonably kitted out, ready to go interloper. So that's why I'm kind of working on that, at least for the first time. So You guys can read all this. I'm not going to worry about it so much, other than the fact that, honestly, for what it's worth, if you guys catch the sale that's going on, I think it's still going on right now. The main game is on sale, and this is on sale, 10% off, or at least it was on the day it went out. For what it's worth, again, I'd give these guys $50, $60 for this game for the amount of work that's been put in. So, for what it's worth, go out, give them some money, basically. So what we're going to care about in this mainly is the Forsaken Airfield is going to be the area that's going to give us the new zone. It's basically a very large area. Again, you guys can watch this on YouTube. If you want to, go ahead and do it. The far range branch line is where you're going to end up. Transfer pass, all this kind of stuff is where we're going to end up to get to once you get to the area. The spoiler is, I guess there is no spoiler at this point, is that it is in the Broken Railroad region. This is where you start. They tell us right off the bat where to go. So if you're lost, you go to Broken Railroad. I'm not going to spoil it past that because I know where it is, but I'm not going to tell you. You guys can do whatever you want to unless you guys tell me some things at the end of this video. So do please stick around. We're about done. I just wanted to kind of look at some of this stuff. The airfield looks fantastic. Just looks exactly like everything that we've seen so far. Gorgeous, beautiful, wide open spaces, plenty of trees. Supposedly it's going to get really cold and windy, but there's a lot of this is my kind of fun right here. This is where I can see they're starting to take a little bit of ideas from other games where you see something like this. You know, we're going to have hangars full of stuff and a control tower and maybe some more neat other things, and there's going to be like, this is so cool to me because I see ideas from other games here, other thoughts. It's beautiful. I couldn't imagine this building in an Aurora with all of those lights in the ceiling, especially up here where this would be. It's just going to be so cool. Again, Auroras are going to light the lights, so just the world is going to be full of things. And again, you know, maybe there's a cabin or something cool. I'm looking forward to finding this. I'm probably more interested in the actual hub line because of how that's all going to work. But again, there's going to be Industrial Mine is going to be the next thing that they're going to release, followed by Mountain Pass. It's going to be in a little bit later on. This has been asked for years and years and years and years. We're going to get a few new things as well as a couple of new animals. The Glimmer Fog is going to be an interesting thing. All of this is going to be in the DLC. All of the stuff that we're going to be able to see is going to be interesting stuff. So Glimmer Fog is going to be a fog that you're going to encounter that's going to cause problems. It's also going to do things with the electronics. Insomnia is something that you're going to get if you're out in a Glimmer Fog or something along those lines. Handheld shortwave radio will be an interesting thing again. That'll be kind of like the new supply cache and the little things that they're finding. We'll talk about that in a different little while, and we get to learn some new cooking things. This, it's a good idea, and I'm glad we're finally going to get a wagon. But I honestly would have preferred a sled than a travois because a travois in deep snow makes no sense. But it is what it is. I'd rather have a little bit more carrying capacity. I have never enjoyed at all having to go hunt feathers around corpses in order to make arrows. This is amazing. Thank you very much. We'll see how badly we can abuse this, because you give me a trader in a game that's not supposed to have anybody other than me in it, I'm going to abuse the heck out of that. We're going to find out. Building safe houses, building things like this. It depends on whether this travels over to the base game or if it's only in the DLC. I'm still going to go back and try to get one of my characters back up to 500. I feel bad that I could not bring my 500-day loper along. I feel bad that I was not able to bring the last 2 interlopers that we did on the channel along. I wanted to bring them all along because I wanted them to be able to see it, especially Cartographer. I wanted to take Cartographer here. We can't, so it is what it is. No big deal. I'm glad we finished it. Camera, darkroom, this is kind of whatever. Cougar, very interested, think this is great, wonderful. We've been needing some other predator besides wolves that will hunt us for a long time. So this one is going to be a sneaky little critter. I live in a state in the United States that actually has these things, and they're pretty nasty. Especially if you find one that has babies, you're pretty much dead if you walk up on one, or you're going to get beat up really, 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 really badly. Yeah, kind of this. I'm waiting to see what this one's like. I might even just go once they introduce them, or when they're findable. I may end up just doing just shoving one into it to see what they look like. This is the interesting thing that I'm interested in, especially for everybody that plays this game, is that there are now going to be variants of the rifles, the bows, the hatchets, the knives, the lanterns, clothing, all that kind of cool stuff. There's a better bow for us to use in Loper. I think there's going to be a couple of different types of rifles, different knives, different hatchets. There's a different type of lantern that's going to be usable. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, they've got a few more things to play with. So again, they're going to start with more stuff. They're going to tell us how all this stuff works. This is where it gets interesting for the rest of us, or for the rest of you that are playing the base game that did not buy the DLC. There is going to be some massive overhauls for all of you. Everybody that is playing the base game without the DLC is going to be some massive overhauls, of which I'm already finding, and it's driving me up the wall. One is that they're going to rework the way wildlife is, and that's going to be something very big for a lot of things. The deer refresh is interesting because of the fact that they've replaced what looks like to me so far, at least 3/4 of the population of the deer population on Great Bear has been replaced by does. A doe is a smaller version. They give you the same resources, but they will have less meat on them. And they also seem to be a little bit more flighty than the stags are, or the bucks are. The resource refresh, this is a big deal too, because they've moved things around. Again, from what I've seen so far on this interloper file that I've been playing, it's like they took the box, shook it a little bit, and then put stuff back where they were, kind of. Some of the stuff that I went looking for was in the same general vicinity of where it was before, and some of it was considerably further away, but in the same environment. So for what it's worth, like the heavy hammer that I found in Mystery Lake was still in what was considered an indoor-outdoor space, but it was not where it was supposed to be. The sleeping bag, again, indoor-outdoor space, but not where it was supposed to be. It was in the same general type of environment, but not where it normally was. The mag lens that I found in Mystery Lake was probably 12 feet away from where it should have been. So like I said, if you're looking for something specific that you usually get for you interlopers, look in the general area. You may find it. The match spawns, so far I've only seen one that was within a reasonable distance of where it was. But for whatever reason, I've got all kinds of matches, so I'm not complaining about it. I've got 3 mag lenses, all kinds of matches. I'm happy with where I am. Took a little bit to get there, but I'm okay. As far as the rest of that goes, spawn points refresh. This is a big deal for you that have not memorized your maps. This is going to be a big deal for those of you that do not know where you are in all of these maps. You're used to certain areas at spawn point or spawn, you're going to be completely lost. And for the second one I spawned in on, I've actually had 2 saves. The first one was in Ash Canyon on a cliff in the middle of the night in a snowstorm. I just yeeted her off the cliff. I wasn't even going to try, because where I ended up spawning, there was no way I could have gotten to shelter without dying. So I just chucked her off the cliff. Second one was in Forlorn, and it's like, this is weird. This is where am I? Oh, I'm in Forlorn, and I kind of just spun around, and I'm like, oh, I know where I'm at. So it was one of those, I knew where I was. It's just that they spawned me clear out on the ice, whereas the others Forlorn spawns were usually on the surrounding edges, which was cool. I actually was really glad where they spawned me, because it allowed me to get to someplace very quickly. Visor notes. This is an interesting thing. I've already played with it a couple of times, and like I said, I think it's going to need some serious rebalancing and probably a patch update or something, because of what, as an interloper, I've already gotten from it. Maybe they fixed it, maybe they haven't. It's a thing that I honestly think they need to look at very hard as far as what they're going to give me, because 3 MREs early game and interloper is so stupidly powerful that you just can't not fix that. That's too overpowered. I got a flashlight, a fire striker, and I have a book of 40 paper matches. Paper matches do not exist in interloper. 40 paper matches. That's 40 fires. That's well, it could be like many different fires. That's ridiculous. That's stupidly ridiculous early game. I know for you stalker people, you tend to do whatever you want to do with those things, but for an interloper on day 5, getting 40 paper matches was like, oh my god, I'm set for the rest of my life. I still have like 30 of them. So it's kind of one of those deals. Fire hardened arrows for an interloper. If you're trying to save your stuff, Like you're trying to save your... I'm kind of on the fence about this one. Let me put it like this. You're not saving me any time. You're not saving me any time as far as anything else that I'm going to be doing, because I still have to go collect the parts in order to make a bow. In order to make a bow, I have to forge, because I can't make a bow without a knife or a hatchet. I have to have that kind of stuff. So that means I'm going to go ahead and forge 20 arrowheads. That's just still a policy for me, is I'm going to go ahead and forge 20 arrowheads, because if you read three archery books and make 20 arrows, you're at archery 3 without ever firing a shot. Now, whether or not they're going to do that with these type of arrows, that'd be fine. But if we're going to be using the same sticks to make these arrows, I'd rather waste the stick or use the stick on something that's going to kill a wolf than something that won't. Okay? I don't even care about the small game or whatever. We'll just don't have scrap metal to spare. Hacksaw, you've got millions. This is another one of those kinds of things that I think they're putting it in for other play styles, so lower level difficulties, to get you interested in trying to use the bow. I'm just going to tell you right off, this is probably going to be a waste, but, you know, we might try to use it for a rabbit here and there. But you guys know how I kill rabbits. I don't shoot arrows at them. I throw rocks at them, so it's a big deal. This is going to be an interesting thing when they get this acorn thing going, or as flour for food preparation. I have an idea as to where they're probably going to go with that acorn stuff, and it's going to be interesting for the rest of you. Again, oak trees, cool. We're going to get a new weather root that can be dried brewed into with useful properties. For those of you that don't know what burdock does, it's an anti-inflammatory thing, which means they're probably going to try to figure out a way to give us the flu or fever-inducing something kind of thing. It's finally going to get that winter-style coldness, so that's the way it's going to be. First person harvesting animations, and new animations coming for this, like this field dressing. That's not in the game yet, from far as I can tell. I'm still getting the same stuff going. Improvised crampons, I can make them now. To be fair with you, they're telling you, well, it's just trying to keep you from going to Ash Canyon. I'm not going to Ash Canyon specifically for those crampons. I'm going to Ash Canyon for that extra 11 pounds of carry capacity, or whatever you guys, 10 kilos, whatever it is. You go to Ash Canyon for that. You don't go there for that. That crampon is a specific side effect of going to Ash Canyon. You go to Ash Canyon for that backpack. I don't care what anybody says. Improved fishing, still haven't seen any of this yet. It's not there. Beachcombing, they're going to be working on more of this. This insulated flask is going to be interesting because it might actually take away the stupid little cups in your inventory, which would be cool. That's fine. It's great. Hunted Part 3 coming up will be great. Can't wait for this. And, of course, as we've spoken several times, the deer, the female deer, doe, female deer, finally. Yes. And there's going to be some more things coming along. They have changed a few of the other things that are going to go along, and like I said, for what it's worth, they've kind of talked about the rest of this stuff. The actual launch was very rocky. It actually ended up breaking. They had a problem with their Unity engine for the Windows start, so the Unity because they didn't end up including a library in the correct folder, which it is what it is. You can't expect Steam and whatnot, these things to be fine every way. They've been doing great for 8 years. I expect them at least with something this big to have a problem. They got it fixed. It's working fine. And from what I've already heard from their community forums, that they're going to make a few more changes and going to be fixing some more stuff as it goes. I love Hinterland to death. I've said a lot of things over the years, and I'm going to continue to play their stuff. Now, since we're almost done, and this has taken way longer than I expected it to, I didn't expect to at least have this long of a video for this kind of a thing. I'm going to give you guys an option. And the option is going to be this. Do you, and I'll give you guys till Saturday. You've got, 3 or 4 days. Do you guys want to watch me start over from scratch on YouTube and go to the new area, the new tail where we're going to go? Or do you guys want me to complete the character that is right here, get her up and ready to go, and then on Saturday, we take this one to the far territory? I am perfectly fine with both. She is almost done. I'm going to be heading up to, like I said, as soon as I get that satchel built, she's going to be going to Ash Canyon, get all those good parts over there. Then we're going to go to the summit. I'm going to hit all of the crates up in Timberwolf and get her sorted, ready to go. And then, like I say, when I get her done, we can start right there. So I will have that ready to go easily by this weekend. You guys let me know in the comments. If I don't hear a thing, we're starting a new one over. If you guys say yes, start with this character, we'll be starting with this character, and then we're going to try to do as many episodes as we can. I have no problem starting another personal run. This one was going to be my personal run, but it's perfectly fine how you guys want to do it. So I guess for right now, that's the new update. That's the new thing. I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit and why you guys didn't get any kind of stuff on Monday, because I was too busy working. I couldn't get away from work, so I didn't have enough time to do anything. Anyhow, let me guys know in the comments, on the Discord, wherever, links are going to be in the description, all those kinds of things, you know, that wonderful kind of stuff. And I will see you all in 3 or 4 days. Let me know. Bye.